Hey everyone, my name is Stephanie from The Farmhouse Mom, and today I'm going to share with you one of the easiest and tastiest sourdough starter recipes ever. Not only is this recipe incredibly easy, this is going to be a healthy recipe that probably will replace something that's already in your pantry and something that your kids love. We are going to make a sourdough starter Cheez-It. I think you are going to love this recipe so much that it will effortlessly go into your weekly schedule of sourdough baking. So let's get started. We have 3 ingredients. So we just need cheese. I have a powdered cheese that I use just to give it a little bit of extra flavor, but any type of cheese you have on hand will work perfectly. So I have a cup of Monterey Jack cheese. We have our sourdough starter, of course, and then also butter. So let's go ahead and start baking. You're going to want to start with 1 cup of sourdough starter. So this is a very, very hungry starter. If you bake with sourdough, you know that sourdough starter discard can come in many forms. This is probably a 2 to 3 day old sourdough starter. I wanted it to be very flat so I could make sure to get some really nice flat crackers. Let's go ahead and start making our Cheez-Its recipe. So we're going to go with a cup of sourdough starter. And this is going to be really thin, and it's going to make it really easy to spread. If your sourdough starter has a little bit of thickness, it might take a little bit longer to dry out and give you that really nice crunch for your Cheez-It. All right, so we have our sourdough starter, our 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to add a cup of cheese. And I'm going to do a couple of teaspoons of this Hoosier Hills powdered cheddar. I believe this is the premium cheddar mix, and it does not have any food coloring or dyes in it. I will link this product below in the description so you can see exactly what I've used. All right, and that's it. This is our recipe. So let's go ahead and stir it up. I already have the oven preheated at 350 degrees, and now I'm going to bring you a little bit closer to show you how thin that I spread the cracker mix. You're going to want a very, very thin spread because you want it to have that nice crunchy cracker texture. All right, so we have our cookie sheet, and to that we are going to put some parchment paper. And we are ready to start to spread out our Cheez-It cracker mix. We probably will only get 1 batch on this because we want it spread pretty thin. I'm going to use this bigger spatula. It's going to give me a little bit more spreading power. All right, so we have our dough spread very thin, and now we're going to add some salt. I really enjoy this light gray Celtic sea salt, and you don't want to go too crazy on the salt. All right, we are ready to put this in the oven. So we are going to put it in a 350 degree oven for 10 minutes, and then we're going to cut our little Cheez-It squares. We've got our first batch in the oven. Let's see if we can finish this on a larger cookie sheet. And don't think that you're spreading it too thin. Even if you see some of the parchment paper underneath, that's fine. The thinner you can spread it, the better. And everybody has their own preferences as far as how crunchy they like a cracker. I don't mind mine to be a little less crunchy, but you just spread it however you like it. top it off with a little bit more salt. And then we'll get this second batch in the oven. Our sourdough Cheez-Its have been in the oven for 10 minutes, and now we are going to cut them into small squares. You want to do this right now when they're still a little bit soft. Otherwise, they'll be too crunchy of a cracker to be able to cut into uniform squares. You could always break them up if you forget this part, but we are trying to make a healthy little cracker for kids and for ourselves. So we want them to be easy to grab. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put these back in until they reach the crispiness level that we desire. So these on the edges have already started to get very crispy. So if you like an extremely crispy cracker, then just leave it in until it's really brown. And if you like a little bit of a softer cracker like me, then you just want a light golden brown. And you can always just tear off a piece and try it and see if it's tasting good for you. I usually wind up putting mine in for about 20 minutes total. So 10 minutes, then you want to cut your squares, and then 10 to 20 minutes after that. Okay, our Cheez-Its are done, and I am just going to put this parchment paper out here on the counter. These will cool off really fast, but you want to give them a chance to dry out and cool off before you break them apart into individual pieces. All right, here are our beautiful Cheez-Its. They are so delicious. I just know that you and your family will love them, and it can also replace something really unhealthy out of a box. A lot of times when you try to make a healthy dupe of something, it just doesn't taste quite right, but my husband, he raved over this recipe. I really think that you could use this recipe in any number of combinations. You could add cinnamon and sugar for the holidays. I think a ranch powder would taste really good, especially if you have kids. Garlic, bagel, any type of seasoning would be so good. My husband is a Cheez-It fanatic. We have had boxes of Cheez-Its in our pantry for almost all of the 15 years in our marriage, and he absolutely loved these, and we will never be buying Cheez-Its again. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the farm. I will see you Friday with another episode of our Thrifting Farmhouse Finds. Have a great week.
Very good, Mom.
Thanks, honey.